society, sir. Just one game.
Someone's watching us. What the hell?
Hey! You bloody pervert!
Unbelievable. I've got to get back. Steve's not working late.
Oh, come on, not yet.
I've still got the shopping to do. I'll drop you back at the car park, okay?
I don't believe it. Hey, shop! Shop! They've changed the ruddy codes again, haven't they? They've only got to tell us. Memo circulated to all departments. Effective midday today. Part of Mr. Mullet's security drive. Oh, yes, I must have filed it. That'll be the day.
Your tea's getting cold, Billy.
I know, Ma.
I know you know, so come and eat it.
I thought you'd had a session at lunchtime.
What's that one?
Better be.
Are you taking the car?
No, Anna's given me a lift. We don't need much. I won't be long. I'll tell her to come in half an hour.
All right.
I'm flying, Mum.
Just be careful. You know all about swings. You can have half an hour and that's all. And if you're not in, your dad will be out for you.
All right, then, bring back some ice cream.
We'll see.
Yay!
Yes. Ah, George, have you seen the memo on the new security codes?
Mm-hmm. We've all had one.
Yeah, fully. Well, where's mine then? Unless, of course, Mr. Mullet has left me off the distribution list on the principle that if I can't actually get into the station...
Our new DCI wants you to have a look at this, sir.
Yes, what's this?
It's about the pushing kids nicking cars. Mr. Mullet feels they're getting very cocky, the joyriders.
Look, it's not joyriding. It's called car theft. It's called dangerous driving. I mean, before you know where you are, someone ends up dead and the driver's too young to be charged.
Oh, that's what it says on the file.
Yes, well, I do wish Horn-Ridden Harry would be choosy about his jargon. I mean, anyone who spends all day with his pen stuck up his R. There you are, sir. I was just telling Tulin here about his terminology, you know. Use of the word joyrider. Not much joy about the stuff we have to shovel up afterwards, is there?
Well, it's turning into an epidemic. DCI Hawk suggests a joint operation. CID, uniform, traffic.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what the problem is, sir, don't you? You get a complaint, you go round the estate, and then no one's seen anything.
That's why we need solid support from CID.
Yes, and CID need the support of the community liaison officer. And if he'd get the community to liaise by pointing their finger at the yobs instead of us...
I'm looking for a positive response to this initiative, Jack. I'm sure that DCI Hawks will bring you up to speed.
Yes. I think he's doing one of your initiatives at the moment, sir, isn't he?
Oh, yes, excellent. Yes, the security drive. I want a much higher profile in that area. After all, security is our shield.
Yes, that's very true, sir. But I was thinking more about the fact that he's taking the snooker team through its paces for the tournament.
Ah, snooker, yes, bit of healthy recreation. Brings us together. Breaks down the old CID uniform barriers. Helps us know that much more about what makes our colleagues tick.
I'm not sure that I want to know how my colleagues tick. I think I've misfiled something, sir.
I want this security drive prioritised.
Can you slow down a bit, Billy?
Finished.
You haven't. Sit down.
I promised to play, Mum. I'm sorry. I promised to play.
There you have it. It's as simple as that. And that's just your common old mushy peas, which means it has a two.
You'll be back by 8, Billy.
Remember to use your watch.
Trisha! Trisha!
Work hard, play hard. That's how you get the best out of the job. Now, we're a team, uniform CID, all in the same team. And on my team, we do it all. Top of the crime statistics, and we win every trophy that's going into the bargain. Starting with the county snooker tournament. Okay, let's play some snooker.
Give us a pint of best, Larry.
Oh, man! Brilliant! Come on, let's do another one. Come on!
I'll see you next week.
Okay, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Trisha isn't with you.
Of course she isn't.
Well, she didn't come in.
I told her.
I thought I'd better drive round and see where she was. Then I thought that's daft if she comes back.
Bloody kids.
You said you wouldn't be long. I didn't think about going out to call her.
Well, why not? And she knows she's not to go off. Have you tried Daryl's?
Oh, I didn't think. She's bound to be.
I'll get on the phone.
I'm quite happy to run this vehicle theft operation. All I'm saying is... All I'm saying is that I want to make the decisions on how it's run. I just don't want it flung at me, sir.
Well, the superintendent wanted a strategy this afternoon. I think he's got a bunch of counsellors on his back. I didn't have time to talk to you, but it's your operation. You set it up as you want.
Thank you.
Don't want to tread on your corns, but Mr. Mallet did have a plan of his own.
Oh, I see.
Exactly. What sort of a shot's that? Look, I'm still a player short for the final. We're not quite as strong as Mr. Mallet thinks.
Well, don't look at me. I'm colourblind. Now, if it had been billions... Oh.
Look, come on, clear the table. We're never going to beat Ridgeford like this.
Do you want a drink?
Yeah, I'll get him.
Oh, good.
Can I get you a drink, Nick?
No, thanks, no. Got to keep a clear head. I'm having an evening in with my expenses. Who's the new bloke?
Oh, he's just visiting. Parker, DC, on sick leave from the Met.
Oh, what? Dear, a piece for the wicked. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll call you if I need you. How long's she been missing?
Nearly 2 hours.
Last seen?
Well, she's on her way back from a shop in James Road with some other kids. She got separated from them during a game of hide and seek.
She's on her own.
Well, the other kids all live in the roads on the estate. They come back in 2 separate groups, both assuming that Trish was with the others. We've been through all the preliminaries. We've done all we can, sir.
Right, call in. Get the circus moving.
Alpha Bravo 7-2 to control.
You were on the Met team?
Yes, sir. Shepherd's Bush. They take it all a bit too seriously, though. I mean, it's only a game.
We've got a missing child on the Benningfield estate. Looks like a house-to-house and a search of the surrounding area. You know the rest.
Better leave those.
Can you drink 3, John?
Leave it out.
It could be a ground search. If you're fit enough, we could do with the help.
All right, sir.
So you were out about 20 minutes, Mr. Martin?
A bit longer. I'd left the door open. I thought Sal would be back anyway. I don't know why I panicked. I just felt something.
It's nothing that you've overlooked. No relatives or friends you might have gone to see?
We've spoken to everyone. Anyone. We don't have family down here. They're all up in Manchester.
I'm sorry if I seem to be asking the same sort of questions, but it's just that we're trying to find out where she isn't, if you see what I mean.
She knew she shouldn't go to the shop. How could the others just leave her?
Didn't know they had her.
Why aren't you looking for her now?
We are, Mrs. Martin, we are. Have there been any rows in the last few days?
Rouse?
Yes. You know, disagreements, anything you had to tell Trish off about. About her being naughty, anything like that. The reason why she might run away.
She hasn't run away. Something's happened to her. But what's the point of asking these stupid questions?
You mentioned some recent photos.
They're in the kitchen.
All right, thank you.
House to house is in progress in the immediate area. We've spoken to the children Tricia was with. I hope we're building up some sightings now.
What about these woods?
But she's likely to have used this path. It skirts the woods between the estate and the main road. Most of the kids came back on it, even though some of the parents had clearly told them to avoid it.
It's a big area if she's lost. It's almost dark now.
Oh, Jack, yes. What's the timetable from the parents?
Well, she was out. He was at home. He came out about 6 to try and find Tricia. But they reckon that she'd left the playground with some kids at about 5:30. What about this last sighting?
Yeah, it's Mrs. Prentice taking her dogs for a walk. She saw Tricia with a local bloke, Billy Conrad.
Have you talked to him?
No, just the parents. He's not back home yet. They don't know where he is.
It was about 5:30. I was walking the dogs about 5:30. 5:45 by then, I suppose. I didn't think anything of it. Everyone knows Billy.
He was talking to Tricia.
Yeah, I was some way away.
What were they doing, walking along?
He was, I don't know, bending down.
Bending down?
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
When you say bending down, what do you mean? Was he talking to her, doing up his shoelaces? What?
He was bending down in front of her, I suppose. Or he could have been kneeling with his arm.
He was touching her?
Oh, well, I mean, you know, it was a split second. I mean, yeah, he could have been, but no, he couldn't have been anything. You'd see them playing together hundreds of times.
Playing together? I thought this Billy was 19 or 20. That's a bit odd, isn't it?
No, there's no harm in him. Billy's retarded, whatever the word is.
Oh, that's helpful.
He's got Down syndrome. He's like a child himself.
I see. So, when she ran off into the woods, he chased after her.
Hmm.
And he was angry.
Oh, not angry exactly. I couldn't really hear.
You were too far away.
Yeah. There was this motorbike coming out of the woods. They used the place like a racetrack. Cars, bikes.
And the rider of this bike?
Oh, I've no idea. Dark clothes and helmet. He was gone in a second. I didn't think there was anything strange about Billy.
shall have to have someone with me when I talk to him. It's just routine. Mr. Conrad, he would be considered mentally subnormal.
Handicapped?
Handicapped, sorry. That means I shall have to have someone else with me just to keep an eye on him, you know, in case I break the rules.
You'll feel better if I can clean him up.
No, I'd rather talk to him first. Please, Mrs. Conrad.
It's all right, love. Billy?
I don't have anything, Dad.
No one's saying you have some. This is Mr. Frost, Billy. He wants to ask you something.
Hello, Billy. We must have frightened you. There you were, walking home, nice quiet night, and all of a sudden there was police and dogs and people shouting.
I was frightened.
Yes, I'm sure you were. Do you know what those policemen were doing? See, they were looking for someone. They were looking for Tricia Martin. You know Tricia, don't you, Billy?
Yes, she's my friend.
Yes, she's your friend. Well, her mum and dad are very worried about her. They'd like to find her. And so would we, Billy. And we think that you might be able to help. You saw Tricia this evening, didn't you? Yeah. Where was that?
In a playground.
Playground. That's the playground just outside the house where she lives?
Yes.
Yes. What time's it?
Coming home on workshop before tea.
Just about 4.
What do you mean workshop? What's that mean?
The sheltered workshop in Old Thorpe Road.
I work there.
Oh. So, you had your tea, and your mum and dad said you went out again. That when you saw Tricia, you saw her again after tea. Where'd you go?
I don't know.
Look, it's very important that we find Tricia. See, because she might be hurt, frightened. And if she's hurt and she's fallen down somewhere, she might not be able to get up again. So we need to find her. Can you help, Billy? Maybe you bumped into her on the way. Perhaps you were talking to her by Bassett Avenue, the bottom of the woods.
I didn't go that way.
Oh.
Billy, you said you were going out to play.
No, Dad. Walk by the river.
Do you know Mrs. Prentice, Billy?
Yes.
She said she saw you. She said she saw you in the woods talking to Tricia.
I didn't see her. Didn't see Tricia. But I didn't see her.
Oh, come on, what's all this?
Well, we can hardly keep it a secret, sir.
Well, get uniformed and move them on, because it's only getting a bloody way.
Okay.
Right, Billy, I want you to go in this car with your mum.
Please,
Mr. Conrad, you come with me.
Get in, Billy.
We've got our hands on most of the local nonces. They're being interviewed, several unaccounted for. I haven't had a chance to talk to Inspector Frost yet, but I'm going to be relying on him for his local knowledge.
Is this Billy Conrad, a suspect or a witness?
He's the last person the girl was seen with at this point. And when we picked him up, he refused to say where he'd been or to account for the state he was in. Jack's bringing him in.
He's retarded.
Yeah, I guess that's why Jack's having to take it slowly.
It's over 5 hours now. I don't think slowly is an option.
I can't tell you why Billy won't talk. It's not like him.
Billy likes playing with children, then, does he?
They take him at face value. A lot of people can't do that.
Forgive my ignorance, Mr. Conrad, but because of Billy's mental age, he gets on easier with children than adults. Is that what you're saying?
There's nothing wrong with being fond of kids.
No. It's just that the disappearance of a child affects everyone, police included. Makes you think in ways you don't want to think. We all come out of this a lot less human than what we went in. For instance, I'm going to have to ask you, how does your son cope with sex?
Billy doesn't lie. He doesn't.
Maybe he forgets things, gets confused about when things happen.
When he's upset, it isn't because he's done any harm to her. We know that. Dave, say something for God's sake.
No, he'd never
He
have
shouldn't have
touched
to
her.
be left like this. It's humiliating enough. If he could have a wash and some clean clothes.
I think it's... Well, it's because of forensic. In case they want to take samples.
Superintendent Mallet wants to know if this boy is a suspect. So do I.
Don't know.
Possible? Probable?
Well, he was seen with her. That's all we got.
Mrs. Prentice's statement suggests he could have been touching the girl before she ran off. We're running out of time, Jack. Handicapped or not, we've got to have some answers.
I know. I've got his social worker coming in as an appropriate adult.
She might be too close to him, too involved. She gets in the way, chuck her out and get in another appropriate adult.
Yeah, that's a bit drastic, isn't it? She might have some value.
I'll back you. So will Mr. Mallet.
I wouldn't bet my pension on that. Frost. Yes, I am. Mackintosh. Yeah. Ms., I shouldn't wonder. Thank you. Right, Doolan, put away the electrodes. We've got a social worker on the premises. Tell me, is Billy honest?
Very.
Then why is it that he won't tell me where he was? He was clearly seen with Tricia Martin near the woods. Listen, we're not in trick cyclist territory here, are we? He knows what's going on.
He's handicapped, not mentally ill.
All right. So, he knows that Tricia's missing. Does he know what that means?
I doubt he really understands the kind of dangers a child could encounter. His view of the world is far more innocent than ours. Billy's a very gentle boy.
Boy? He's not a boy. He's nearly 20.
If you want to know if Billy's really a man, why don't you just ask Inspector? He has a perfectly normal sex drive. The fact that he's handicapped doesn't change that.
His father doesn't think he's got a sex drive at all.
It isn't easy for parents.
Yeah, well, my concern at the moment is to try and find Tricia Martin. It's her parents I'm bothered about. Right, Billy. Gonna try and find out everything about Tricia. You know, what happened to her. Where she went. Who she was with. Who saw her. So that we can build up a sort of, sort of picture from all sorts of people. Do you know what clues are?
Yes.
Right. Well, is if we can get enough clues, we can find out where Tricia is. You're Tricia's friend?
Of course I am.
Yeah, well, if you're Tricia's friend, you'd want to help her, wouldn't you? Try and find out where she is.
Billy, Mr. Frost wants to find Tricia and bring her home. He's worried someone's taken her away when she didn't want to go.
Bad man. I do, sir.
Right, Billy. Tell us what happened.
I went out. Walked through the woods. And Tricia was there.
She was there? You saw Tricia?
She wanted to play.
Where were all the other children?
Gone. But I didn't want to play. I had to. She said going to tell.
Tell what?
A secret, that's why. I had to stop her. I weren't waiting.
I don't think that's quite true, is it, Millie? I think Tricia ran into the trees and you chased after her.
Playing hide and seek. She didn't want to go home. She made me late.
You were going somewhere? Where? Well, you're pissing us about. She could be dead.
Dead?
Yes, you see, you left her and nobody's seen her since.
Not in the woods. I left her. I left her by the path near her house.
She's disappeared, Billy. Do you know anything about that? Tricia was running away from you, Billy. Now, why was she doing that? Is it because something that you'd done to her? You touched her? That's what you were going to try and stop her saying?
I never do that. I helped her. When she fell over.
Fell over?
Her knee's bleeding. See? This is a clue.
Mr. Conrad has just put a blood-stained handkerchief onto the table. Yes? You told me to call you, sir. Yes, right.
Sergeant Wells has just entered the room and left with D.I. Frost. Interview suspended 23:40.
I think I better talk to the parents.
I'd like to stick with that, sir.
Something I should know about?
No, I'm not saying that. It's just that at this stage I'd like to keep close to them, that's all.
I'm not a desk man, Jack. Never have been. I'll let you know if something else comes out of it, but I think your time will be better spent getting some answers out of Conrad.
Your shout, sir. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. I think we've got ourselves lumbered with a DCI who likes to keep his hand in. That's all we need. The cause of death was probably a blow to the back of the head. All right, well, what are we talking about? Was she attacked? Was it an accident? Was there a weapon involved?
Well, I can't tell at the moment. I mean, she may have been struck from behind, or she could have hit her head as a result of a fall. Whatever it was a pretty severe blow. I'll have a clear idea after the post-mortem.
All right, thanks. Any idea of the time of death?
Oh, between 5 and 6:30. 7 at the outside. I won't get it any closer than that.
All right. Just one more thing, Doc. Was she molested?
Oh, as far as I can tell at the moment, no. I would say there was some sort of struggle, though. Look, I've got a suicide at Fulford. I'll let you have the rest as soon as I get.
All right, thanks.
Mr. Martin, Chief Inspector Hawks.
Is there any news?
Can I come in?
instead?
We've found the body of a young girl in Bennyfield Woods. Obviously, there'll need to be a formal identification, but we believe it is Tricia.
We're going to be keeping Billy in overnight.
He's never been on his own like this. Can't we bring him back tomorrow? If he could just get some sleep.
Billy is going to stay here until he tells us where he was, Mrs. Conrad.
She's dead.
Yes.
No, not dead.
I saw the dead body, all covered in mud and leaves in the woods where you were. And look at you. Look, you're all covered in mud, aren't you?
Wasn't me.
You were angry with her. You thought that she was going to tell your secret. Maybe you hit her. You picked something up.
For God's sake, Inspector, I'm...
Yes, thank you, Ms. McIntosh.
My responsibility.
If you've got any complaints, you can send them in later. Send a couple of copies to Mr. and Mrs. Martin. She was going to tell your mum and dad, wasn't she? That's why you chased after her.
Mr. Frost, it's now quite clear that you're treating Billy as a suspect.
What?
Well, are you?
Yes, and I'd like to get on with it.
Then perhaps you do him the courtesy of cautioning him. Or is that something the handicapped don't qualify for in this station?
No, of course, you're right. Caution him.
Billy Conrad, you do not have to say anything unless you wish to do so. But what you do say may be given in evidence. I must also advise you that you are entitled to consult a solicitor privately at any time.
The police still want to ask you some questions. Are you happy to answer them?
To help Tricia. Does he want a solicitor?
It won't help Billy to have another stranger here. I'll talk to him if I feel that changes. Billy, did you have anything to do with Tricia's death?
No.
The inspector thinks you did. If you tell him the truth, then he won't need to think that anymore.
All right, Billy. Let's continue. Why were you so angry, Tricia?
Tricia knows.
Tricia knows? What does she know?
I'm getting married.
Married? Who are you getting married to?
Jane.
Who's Jane?
She's my girlfriend.
You were with Jane.
We're going to get married.
I think Billy has an alibi, Mr. Frost.
Obviously, we know she was still alive just before 6 when she was last seen with Billy Conrad.
And he is now saying he walked off through the woods, leaving Tricia to go home.
That's right. He claims he went on to the residential home at Oaklands to see his girlfriend, Jane Kennedy.
Is she mentally handicapped too?
Yeah, that's right. Down syndrome, same as Billy. Ms. McIntosh knows her.
What time does Conrad say he got to the residential home?
Oh, I don't know. He's very vague about it. But if he's telling the truth, it still means he was hanging about Benningfield Woods for about an hour.
Is he offering this encounter as an alibi?
No, he wouldn't know what the word meant. He says the reason why he didn't tell the truth straight away is because he didn't want anyone to know about his girlfriend.
Hardly the picture of innocence we're getting from some quarters. Is there anything previous on him? Any complaints?
No, nothing on record.
I think we need to look into his relationship with children on the estate, though.
Anything on any of these other witnesses? The man with the motorbike. He could well have seen Conrad and the girl after Mrs. Prentice.
We're doing all we can. We got several descriptions of vehicles in the area. We're also trying to trace the joyriders who burned the car. I think we might have to come up with some kind of amnesty if we want them to come forward.
Yes, I suppose so. But Conrad is our main line of inquiry now. If he is our man, I want the quickest route to the truth, without a trip up every byway, Jack. We've already had warning bells from the estate. Well, feelings about to run high. Young families. Young children. I don't want things boiling over because we're seen to be dragging our feet.
I hear what you're saying, sir.
I am not trying to give him an easy time. I'm just trying to get him to talk. All that stuff about his girlfriend was the first time he wasn't holding back.
He's our number one suspect. And given his intellect, I don't think it should be taking us this long to get the truth out of him. A different line of questioning, different personality.
What is this? I walk into this case and I start interviewing Mr. and Mrs. Martin. And before I can open my notebook, I'm out of there and I'm interviewing Billy Conrad. I turn round now and you want someone else on that. Look, I'm getting somewhere. He trusts me. There's no point sticking another bod in.
I'm not putting some other bod in, Jack. I'll do it myself.
Yes, well, it's still not a good idea, sir, to take me off the case.
It's not a question of taking you off it, Jack. I need you out there. There's got to be some background on this. Kids who haven't said anything to their parents. Parents who've been suspicious and then thought the better of it. I want to know all about Conrad and these children, and I want those other witnesses.
When a detective is on the hair, you let him bloody run.
You have a very individual approach to detection, Jack, but we're all part of a team, and teamwork's what gets results. There's also the question of the formal identification. I'd be grateful if you talk to the Martins in the morning.
Thank you, sir.
Seen several times yesterday evening, to contact Denton Police as soon as possible. They're also interested in speaking to the drivers of a blue Fiesta and a white Mini.
To say something.
We saw the bloke. He was watching us.
We saw him for a few seconds. He was wearing a crash helmet. Anyway, they've already got someone for it. I heard it on the news. Some nutcase.
We were there, Alison. Someone has given a description of your car. I think we've got to go to the police.
And how do I explain that to Steve?
I don't suppose Steve need ever bloody hear.
Hold on.
You know we have to say something. It's why you've been avoiding me.
If it comes to giving evidence, anything like that, they can forget it. Come in.
Richard, we wanted to say how sorry we are. We know Billy thought
How
the world
dare
of
you come in?
Sally, we're so
Your
sorry.
maniac son's killed my daughter. He's killed her. He's killed her. He's killed her.
I didn't do it. Just go, please.
Why did you have him? You must have known he was too old for a normal baby. Your fault. It's your fault my baby's dead.
Well, could you get up there?
Just about, yeah.
All right, just about will have to do. I don't want you getting injured before the snooker match. Mullet never forgive me.
Well, I wouldn't want to try it. But he did. That's all right. I can manage. Bother. Thank you.
It'll be the last time anyone uses that route. There'll be a lock fitted tomorrow. If you speak to the night staff, they'll confirm there was an intruder in the grounds.
Yeah, any other time?
9:37. The incident was reported to the police. You'll find a note on it at your station.
I wouldn't want to bet on it.
But this is Jane's room. Jane, this is Inspector Frost, Jane.
Why is Billy locked up?
The custody sergeant has explained that we are entitled to keep you here for up to 24 hours without charge, Mr. Conrad. At that point, an application may be made for a 12-hour extension. or a charge may be brought.
You're going to have to stay here a bit longer.
Why can't I go home?
You put him in prison because he came to see me.
That's nonsense, Jane. We're going to have our own words about that, of course, but it doesn't concern the police.
You won't tell my mum and dad.
We don't need to bother the inspector with any of that.
Jane, we need to find out where Billy was yesterday evening. And it's very important that we get the time right. Now, when did you see him?
After tea.
Yes. And what time is tea?
6 o'clock, Jane. You know that. They're not good with time.
All right. How long after tea?
Not sure. He was late.
How long did he stay?
I don't know. We went to sleep.
Can you tell me what Billy was like when he got here? I mean, was he cut or scratched? Were his clothes dirty, or was there mud over him?
Bit muddy. He'd been running.
I see. Can you tell me what happened before you went to sleep? Come on, Jane. You know you've got to tell me.
We made love.
Did Billy tell you why he was late?
No.
He didn't tell you that he'd met someone in the woods, a friend, a girl from the estate. You're sure?
Yes.
I did warn Susan McIntosh to be careful. Too many theories and not enough sense. She lets them touch each other, kisses, cuddles. It's no good letting them do that and expecting them to know where to stop.
How long has Jane known Billy?
4 years. She's only an occasional visitor. When it all gets a bit much at home. She's here for a few weeks and she spends some of the time at the sheltered workshop. Mrs. McIntosh's pet project.
I see. Has Billy shown interest in any other girls?
He only comes near the place when Jane's here.
And you don't know him very well?
What I do know is, the less the mentally handicapped expect from life, the easier their lives are. The less they have to do with sex, the better.
No different from you and me, really, Mrs. Tennant. Thank you for your help.
Not a bad spot, Cuff.
What? Rising damp and ode to colostomy? Oh, yeah, very invigorating. Tell you what, we'll drop you back at the station so you can get in touch with Forensic, check the girl's room.
Okay.
Oh, George.
Yeah.
Mr. Mullet does decide to have me committed. Don't let them put me in here, will you?
She's my friend. I wish...
What do you wish, Billy?
I wish she wasn't dead.
If you'd like to wait outside, I won't keep you a minute. I need to have another look. Let's see the knees.
Other people say you were chasing her, trying to catch her. Well, we know where you were just before she died. We know where you were just after she died. Where were you when she died?
It's my fault.
She knew Billy wasn't like an ordinary adult. Would he explain that? We told her that she shouldn't be unkind to him, but she wouldn't just go anywhere.
Playground, the edge of the woods. I don't know, it's like Richard says we were trying to be kind to him. I can't believe it now.
If I'd have been 10 minutes earlier, I'd have seen her, brought her back.
God, if I could get hold of him now.
I'm sorry I have to ask all these questions. It's just that we're trying to build a picture of Billy Conrad, of what he was like with children. Did she ever talk about the fact that he might have touched her? Or that she suggested anything like that? You know, looking back. It's just I'm trying to find a reason
He's
why...
mental, isn't he? Isn't that reason enough?
He likes girls of his own age. He's had crushes. You know, like anyone. That's hardly an answer, Mr. Conrad. Well, I don't know what sort of an answer you want. He's like any other boy. I want you to search your memories and answer me honestly. Has Billy at any time shown an unhealthy interest in any of the children he spends time with?
I can't go on with this.
Come on, love. We know the answer's no.
We've loved Billy, always. From the moment he was born. We've tried to make his life as happy as we could. And we don't regret a moment.
Shit.
But that doesn't mean there hasn't been a price for us. No one can ever know how hard it is. How much you cry inside sometimes. And to see him treated like this.
Was he ever violent?
No, he wasn't. Not to anyone. Not to anything.
Is it my fault?
Of course not, Billy.
Ms. McIntosh.
He's tired, Mr. Hawkes. This has been going on for hours. He's not sure what he's saying.
I think he's perfectly clear about what he's saying. And this is not a stage at which the interview should be stopped.
Let me record my feeling that it should be.
I've known Billy a long time. He's never shown any signs of violence. I mean, he's got a temper. Well, given the state of his mental condition, is he capable of controlling that temper? Does Down syndrome predispose him to attack young girls? No, of course it doesn't. Look, there's nothing I can tell you other than that Billy's perfectly well adjusted, and I find it very difficult to believe he could have done anything like this. Very difficult. It's appalling. Poor Tricia. You're the Martins' doctor too, aren't you? I don't know them well. Well, they haven't lived here very long. Tricia was in and out with various illnesses last year. What, sort of normal childhood things? Not really. I was rather worried about her at one point. A lot of the illnesses seemed to be psychosomatic. I thought it was just a reaction to the move from Manchester, change of schools, losing of friends. But it was more extreme. Being an adult, I'd have put it down to severe depression.
Something happened. Something she didn't like. Something she said she would tell other people about. Her mother and father. Your mother and father.
Jane.
And you were frightened about what she'd say. Mr. Conrad is nodding, so you ran after her to stop her, and something else happened. You lost your temper.
No.
You told us you did.
Yes.
Yes, and maybe you didn't mean to hit her. Maybe she fell, maybe she hit her head, and you realized she was dead, and you left her there. Isn't that what happened? Don't you think you will feel better if you tell us the truth?
I'm sorry. This has to stop. You're putting words into his mouth.
Ms. McIntosh, if you want to stay for the rest of this interview...
This isn't an interview. It's an interrogation. I'm not prepared to watch you batter Billy into saying something that isn't true.
This isn't a social workers' therapy group. There's a dead child in the mortuary, and I have to push like hell to get the facts. Now, if you think that is unpleasant, I already know it is. That's the job.
To get a conviction at any price?
I don't think you're qualified to tell me how to deal with a murder suspect.
You can't just fire a string of half-baked innuendos.
I'm saying nothing that he hasn't said.
Nonsense! You're taking his words and completely reconstructing them. How do you expect him to understand?
He was quite capable of understanding what he wanted to lie about when we first talked to him. Maybe it just gets hard when we get near the truth.
This isn't getting near the truth.
No, it isn't If you continue to disrupt this investigation, then I'm going to ask you to leave and get somebody else in.
Stop calling! I did it what he said.
You do mine when you finish this.
Oh, good result, sir.
Yeah, what's that?
The mental. He's coughed. Says he's done it.
Sir?
I've looked at the evidence of the witnesses, the forensic evidence. I've heard the tapes. The boy saying that it was his fault. He's clearly confused about what happened, but something did happen. A child was killed, and he was there.
I'm not convinced.
Why not?
Well, take the handkerchief that he used on her knee.
Oh, the blood could have come from her head. Look, he realised he still had the handkerchief in his pocket. He panicked, he threw it on the table and said the blood was from her knee.
That's not the way that it came out. He gave me that handkerchief because he thought it might help in some way.
Jack.
You weren't questioning him at that point, were you, sir? No, it's too specific. He's got no explanations for anything. He's got no sense of time. He doesn't know how long it takes to get anywhere. And yet he comes up with a specific explanation of one thing. The one thing that involves him remembering her cut knee.
I'm sorry, Jack. Look what I'm faced with. A young man who may very well have killed Tricia and hidden her body, then calmly wandered off to break into a residential home and have sex with his girlfriend. This is no time for hunches. We've got a confession.
What you've got is an appropriate adult who's going to stand up and argue that he was under duress.
Are you saying you don't believe Conrad killed Tricia Martin?
No, I'm not saying that he couldn't have done it. I'm saying I'm not sure.
We have the evidence to charge him. It's clear enough.
Look, we've still got missing witnesses. I mean, there's more information come on this motorcyclist. A couple came in this afternoon.
The information on the motorbike doesn't actually tell us anything new. It's still too early in the afternoon.
Mrs. Prentice said that she saw the motorcyclist after she'd seen Billy with Trish. It's in her statement. Now, what are we doing? Picking out the bits that suit us?
Jack, that's enough.
The evidence against Billy Conrad is sitting in the incident room. I'd be considering a charge on that alone. We have now got a confession as well. And as Ms. McIntosh has already pointed out to me several times today, we're about to run out of time. If we don't charge him, we're going to have to let him walk out of here or put him up before a magistrate. I think letting him go would be pretty irresponsible.
I have to agree, Jack. I accept that the confession was obtained in difficult circumstances, but it's still a confession. And along with the witnesses, the forensic evidence, the deliberate lying, I can see no responsible argument for holding off. Conrad has to be charged.
How's it going, sir?
Oh, don't ask.
You got a result on the kid?
Yeah, so they say. What about you? Still all sick, are you?
I've got a medical next week.
Mm.
I'm hoping that's the end of it. I mean, it wasn't even that serious. I only tore a few ligaments. It was a surveillance. Grass told the governor about his recce for a supermarket job. Only when we got down there, it turned out it was the actual Blake. And we block off their motor. They leg it. Only we haven't seen the shooter, and, well, I'm unlucky.
You'll look at it the other way. You could have been unluckier.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know, it's been off the job all this time. It's winding me up. I've only been in CID 4 months.
Well, you've got years of being wound up ahead of you, believe me.
I don't want to go back. Yes. We want a flat. We want to live together.
That's what he says.
That's what I say. I'm going to tell Mum and Dad.
Jane.
We love each other.
Jane, Billy's in trouble now, so we've all got to do everything we can to help him. There's been a terrible mistake. The police think Billy killed Tricia Martin.
Well, closer examination makes it clear that she hit a hard surface. She wasn't hit with a weapon. There was no question of molestation. Little evidence of struggle. Not much bruising on the rest of the body. Oh, there is something odd, though. Easy to miss with all that damage. There is evidence of a hairline fracture close to the base of the skull. Difficult to say how old. A couple of years or so, probably. It had healed, of course, but it had left a weakness which might have contributed to the effect of the impact she received last night.
Thank you, Doc. I'll check her medical records.
Mental killer! Thank you,
I've heard the interview tapes.
That's not a confession.
Why not?
Billy can't take questioning like that. He's only just taken in the fact that Trisha's dead, that she's been killed. He believes he should have taken her home, so he thinks it's his fault, and he can't cope with that.
Or he can't face up to what actually happened. That's what the DCI thinks.
Billy doesn't need an appropriate adult now. He needs a solicitor.
Yes.
Why did you want this drink?
I want you to tell me why you believe him.
I can't give you any evidence.
No, something, anything. It doesn't matter what it is.
I suppose the nearest I can get to something concrete. I talked to Jane today. She and Billy have been making plans for the future.
Tell me.
Say Billy's an ordinary young man. In love. He wants to live with his girlfriend. Can't think about anything else. And he's got a girlfriend who's the same. They're crazy about each other. The problem that they've got is parents who can't deal with it. And if the parents find out, maybe they won't be allowed to see each other again. That's it. Apart from a low IQ and looking different, it's not the profile of a man who would kill a little girl.
You're all good, you nutter, so no one can see you.
The fact that Conrad's been charged doesn't mean the job's over. As far as possible, I want to put a stopwatch on Trisha's journey, the meeting with Conrad and the hour that they were in the woods. I hope Conrad himself's going to be more forthcoming. I'm very grateful for the effort that you've all put in. But there are still witnesses to find, still details to be got from those witnesses who've already helped us. That's all. All right, Jack?
Oh, yes, fine. Trail bikes and so-called joyriders, we'll find them. Oh, what you got?
Well, I think we can narrow it down to 3 or 4 models from what Mr. Carter and Mrs. Curtis have said so far.
That's it, right. Well, where they work?
No, there's a note on the statements. The witnesses have asked for anonymity.
Fine. Do we want them in court?
He will be remanded in police custody for a further 3 days. They are opposing bail at the moment on a number of grounds to do with the ongoing investigation, and more particularly with regards to his safety. I would not encourage him to apply for bail, since I find the concerns of the police quite proper in this respect. I hope that's clear.
Come on, son, this way.
Mrs. Curtis, I would be most grateful if you could be more positive or negative. If you really thought it was that one...
Simon's right. It's one of those two. The other one. I'm less sure.
The first two. These two.
Right, thank you very much.
Is that it?
Yes, for now, Mrs. Curtis. Mr. Carter.
Thanks a bunch, Simon.
Look, I know you wanted to wait. I know you didn't want to face Steve yet.
I've no intention of facing Steve. I've no intention of leaving Steve. I've been trying to tell you for the past 2 months, and you're too bloody stupid to take a hint.
Well done, John. Close that time, mate. Still my bloody round, though. What are you having?
I'll have a pint.
Fine. Thanks.
Pretty good again,
Same
John?
for you.
Thank you, sir.
We're all off duty here, no need for the sir stuff. You know we've got the final tonight.
Yeah.
We're a man short. I don't suppose you think about stepping in, fill the breach. I mean, you're pretty likely to pop in for a jar anyway.
Well, I wouldn't miss it.
So?
It's hard to say no to a DCI, sir. It'd be great.
My round, I think. My round! Yeah. We're all on orange juice until the match is over.
Joking.
Clear brains.
All right, 6 orange juices, then.
Don't know what to do with these. Can hardly bear to touch them. I can't keep looking at them, though.
Yeah. I'm sorry I have to keep coming back. It's just that we're still trying to piece things together.
I don't want to know the details, Mr. Frost. What I'd like is for all those people outside the court to stop that van, pull him out, and save us any more pain.
I had a word with your doctor yesterday. He tells me that Tricia was ill last year.
I suppose she was unsettled.
Is that the move?
She wanted to be with her all the time, day and night. We couldn't get her to school some mornings. She wouldn't even stay on her own with Richard at one point. Wanted her mum.
It went on a long time.
Yes, a while. I'm sorry, Inspector. I know you mean well. But I don't really want to talk about this. Just come back and tell me when he's been locked away for the rest of his life.
Tricia was one of the liveliest kids in the class. A little too lively. She was just beginning to realise she was rather bright. And that could be a better way of getting what you wanted than sulking or crying. She certainly got the better of me sometimes.
Was she in your class all year?
No. No, she was in Julie Edgar's class for a term. When the family first moved down here from Manchester. I think Julie had all the hard work, really. Tricia wouldn't say boo to a goose then. She was very withdrawn, wouldn't really talk to anyone. I mean, that's not unusual with a change of school, but we were all rather worried about her at the time.
The Wanderer returned.
Sales of trail bikes from every dealer in the area. There are still a few small ones to chase up, but I think we've got about 85%.
All right, we better start with our lovebirds as first choice.
That's going to be a hell of a jump, Gav.
Yeah, no. There's something else, this pathology report. I bet it hasn't been acted upon. Tricia's hair, blood and oil, engine oil.
Right.
Right, what do you mean, right? Hey, what's the question, Sergeant? Well, what sort of oil is it? Is it car oil? Is it new engine, old engine, clean, dirty? What's the make of the oil? Or is it something else? Could it be two-stroke oil, say from a motorcycle?
Trail bikes aren't necessarily two-stroke.
No, all right, then what's Forensic doing? Where's the report? I bet our new DCI hasn't pushed for it.
Yeah, well, he's going to be pushing me and find out in the social in 5 minutes.
You what?
Snooker final.
Oh, well, I'm glad that everyone in this station has got their priorities right.
I'll be in first thing tomorrow, Gav, I promise.
Well, you better be. I want to move on that car theft next. Uniform haven't done anything. But we know that someone was up there. We've got a burnt-out car to prove it.
You really don't think he did it?
Oh, come on. Come and play snooker.
First of all, I'd like to thank our colleagues from Ridgeford for making the long trek over here. And warn them that this trophy that they've held so proudly for so many years is about to pass into the hands of Denton. Let battle commence.
It's down to you, John. There's a lot riding on this.
And Mr. Mullet's had the trophy cabinet French polished specially.
To the victor, the jokes, I think, Tulin.
I'll do my best, sir.
Bit of a sticky wicket, Charlie.
Oh, Parker's one hell of a player, sir.
Do I know Parker?
I'll get you another drink, sir. Steady the nerves.
Oh, I think I'm doing all right, thank you.
Yeah, class, John. Great performance. Look, it's time you met Mr. Mullet, our superintendent.
All right, I'll be back in a minute. Call an nature, eh? Superb performance, Charlie. Superb. I absolutely knew Parker was our man. Just knew it, eh?
Looks like the drinks are on you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. My round. Come along.
Anything I can do to help?
The snooker. I was just looking for you to tell you. We won.
This is not the social club.
No, I was on my way out. I took the shortcut. I must have got lost.
Go down the corridor to the end there, turn left down the stairs through the door, you're at the front desk.
So, you'll be back on a joyriding then. I could help you out with that. I mean, I've got some stuff. Information.
I think you've had a few too many.
No. I'm quite close to identifying a lot of them. I mean, there's a hard core, and that's why I thought find a couple, lead you to the rest.
I think you ought to concentrate on getting better and getting back to the Met.
Yeah, well, I've been doing it to sort of, you know, keep my hand in. I know about the two kids in the car. You know, the burnt-out job. I reckon I can tie them in with a couple of other thefts.
Right. Well, it sounds like you've done a good job.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got it all at home if you're ever interested.
Yes. All right.
Well, I'll leave you to it then, Gov.
Oh, yeah. Right, thanks.
Yeah, hello?
D.I. Frost.
Come.
I thought I'd pick up on that chat.
Yeah, come on in.
Right. Thanks. Yes, I was a bit tied up with this Trisha Martin business and I couldn't really talk.
That's no problem, Gov. This way.
Thank you.
I thought all that was sewn up anyway. The mental.
Well, yes, that's the word around the station, yeah.
Bastard, eh?
Yeah.
Scotch.
Oh, right, thanks, yeah.
Right.
What's this? Your year, is it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Load of crap, really, all that. Hendon doesn't count for much when you get out on the street, does he?
Oh.
Have a seat.
Right. Oh, thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, you got blokes at Denton running around waiting to catch these joyriders, and they're not getting anywhere. They're playing by the rules. I mean, that's not the way, is it, Gov? Well, I don't need to tell you that.
You reckon you got something here?
I've been hanging out where they hang out, following them. You know the burnt-out job, Benningfield Woods.
All right, yeah.
Well, I got a photo. The two kids.
Well, that certainly puts our lads in the shade. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Well, I was going to wait till I got it all. Come on in. You see, they've been using Benningfield Woods for some time. Those tracks down there run for miles. I mean, you've had one or two patrols up there, but you see, I was prepared to wait. Patience. Right, now, this is the car that pair burnt out. There.
Why didn't you tell us that you were in the woods the afternoon Tricia Martin died?
Oh, come off it, sir. I know what I'm about. I'm a copper.
I phoned Shepherd's Bush. Your governor's never heard of you.
I didn't know what to do. I came out of the army because I knew I could get into the Met. It was what I wanted. Do you know what? It was because I got turned down as a bloody military policeman, a bloody slagbag MP. I didn't say so, but that was it.
A lot of people get turned down for the job.
I was living with a policewoman, wasn't I? We were going to get married. She had a kid, Danny. He really liked me, and then overnight, suddenly I was the boyfriend who couldn't even get on as a trainee. She didn't want to know.
So, you came to Denton to pretend to be a policeman?
I didn't set out to. I said it to a few people I knew, a few people in pubs, and well, it felt all right. People took some notice. I wasn't just another squaddy on the bottom of the pile.
So then you took it a stage further?
No, one day I was in this pub near the Nick and I got talking to some of your lot and I don't know, living with Sheila and it wasn't hard.
And someone asked you back to the social club for a drink. Look, I'm not listening to all this rubbish, Parker, because I'm interested. I'm trying to decide whether you are stupid enough to play boy's own bloody detective or you've got something to do with Tricia Martin's death.
For God's sake, what are you talking about?
And I'm 90% convinced you're certifiably stupid. You're certainly nicked. Get your coat. There you go. I believe congratulations are in order.
Glad you keep your ear to the ground, Jack. You think it's daft? Station morale, station loyalty. It works, Jack. It's good stuff. Healthy stuff.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's got its place. I'm not a team player, so...
Doesn't exactly go unnoticed upstairs.
Really? I don't know the rules of this snooker tournament, but I thought, putting in a ringer from the Met, that you were pushing your limit.
Oh, we were a man short. What's wrong with a bit of cross-force cooperation?
What? You mean a bit like a regional snooker squad, eh? Tell me this, then. What would happen if this ringer of yours wasn't a copper at all, and it just made the move from the social club to the cells? How do you reckon that'd go down?
What are you talking about?
I'll explain in words of one syllable, providing that you tell our superintendent, because no one here's got the bottle, including me.
Excellent. Brilliant. Brilliant. There it is. They've held that trophy for 7 years. I've told George Barker he won't be going out of Denton again for at least that.
Do you think we could have a word, sir?
Yes, certainly.
In private?
Yes.
Yeah, we burnt the car because we burnt it. That's what you do.
But what you don't do is you don't come forward to help when an 8-year-old child is murdered. We offered you bloody immunity.
All right. Come on. You got him. What do you need us for? Huh? That's what you should be doing. Catching the nutters. You know? All we're doing is having a laugh. Yeah? It's a crack.
Do you realise how many children are killed by prats like you? Just having a laugh in a stolen car every year, do you?
Ah, come on. Can't drive, all right? Yeah? Know what I'm doing.
Yes, so do I, son. So do I. It may start with vehicle theft, but it'll end with withholding evidence and obstructing the police
and anything else anyone in Denton Nick can come up with. I can assure you, you won't be doing community service for a long time. Have you ever seen what a dead child looks like, have you? Tricia Martin was struck by a traumatic blow at the back of the skull. There were traces of engine oil. I think there's a distinct possibility that she was hit by a car. Not a bad idea to burn a car when you just killed someone in it, eh?
No.
Right. Then I want every sight, every sound, everything you did and everywhere you went.
I'll give Denise your love. Oh, I don't know. I feel I shouldn't go out. I know it's mad, but I still forget. I still think she'll come back.
Do you good to talk to someone else, love?
Yeah. You know all the toys I put in the garage? Will you take them away and do something before I come back?
You sure? Okay.
He nearly hit us. We didn't stop to see what he looked like. He was just there, standing in the middle of the track. We only just missed him.
And you'd recognise him again in a lineup?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, we were hammering it. Do you know what I mean? Well, it was a bloke. He was fair and not very old, but that's about it.
There's no doubt about the car, though?
Oh, no. I mean, I nicked one just like it about a month ago.
Yeah, well, thanks very much for the information. We may need to be in touch with you again. Okay, fine, thanks. Bye. Governor.
Hello.
Tricia Martin. That was the doctor from the Manchester Royal. Her father took her in with a head injury, serious bruising. Now, he said she'd fallen off a swing. The doctor remembers because they were a bit dubious. Now, they did talk to social services, but there wasn't enough to take it any further.
I talked to them, Jack. So did you. Everything seems so ordinary. Okay, your shot, I think.
Thank you. Come on.
Oh, by the way, Gov, the oil. It's two-stroke.
Mr. Martin? Ah, sorry to disturb you again, sir. There's one or two things I want to clear up. I wanted to ask you about your card journey when you were looking for Tricia.
I thought we'd been through that.
Yes, we had. It's just that I must have put it down wrongly. See, I can't make sense of the time.
You know where I drove? Around the estate, Bennyfield Lane, Bassett Avenue, back again, round the main road.
You didn't go in the woods?
No.
You sure?
Of course I'm sure. Turn a car around in the track that goes up to Bennyfield Top. That's as far as I went. You don't know how much time I've spent. Wishing I'd gone further.
You said that Tricia was a happy child, Miss Martin.
I don't think anyone around here would disagree. Look, is there a point to this? Now, Sally said you came around yesterday without any real questions to ask.
You were very keen to tell us how happy Tricia was. You know, no problems, no arguments. Wasn't like that when you first moved in.
What?
Tricia was a very unhappy child when you came here. Were you worried about that?
Of course I was. It was the move. And we'd had some hard times. Money was tight. She couldn't have everything she wanted.
Your doctor called it a depression. Well, maybe it was something to do with the accident. You know, when she fell off the swing. Pretty bad knock, that was.
Yeah, it was.
Did you tell your wife about that?
Of course I told her. Why am I being cross-examined about a knock on the head Tricia got 2 years ago?
Because you didn't take her back to the hospital.
It was only a bump. Didn't need to take her in the first place. I just panicked.
What, like you did the other day?
And every bloody right to panic. Bloody madman was out there killing her. I'm not taking this.
It seems likely that the accident with the swing, if indeed that's what it was, caused a hairline fracture. They didn't notice it at the hospital. You didn't go back.
Well, it had healed, but it left a weakness. So when she fell and hit her head... Yes, we do think it was a fall now. Not a blow to the back of the head as such.
You're saying some sort of accident?
I didn't know what was wrong with this. There's something missing from this picture, Mr. Martin.
I don't think I want to go on with this. It's my daughter's.
You see, there's the house, there's the car, there's the cat, there's Tricia, there's Mrs. Martin, there's... No, Mr. Martin. There's no father in this picture. That's odd, that.
She's dead. How can you?
Mr. Martin, can you explain to me what you were doing standing by your car in the middle of Benningfield Woods on the afternoon of your daughter's death? You deny being in the woods, but I have 2 witnesses who saw you there. Mr. Richard Martin, I have to caution you. You're not obliged to say anything. But anything you do say will be taken down and may be used in evidence. And I shall pursue this conversation down at the station.
What can you get?
We're with you, Richie. Annie's too good for the bastard.
Yes, all right. Never had any other children?
No.
Why's that? Medical reason, is it?
No. One seemed enough, right?
Do you like your daughter?
Yes.
Did you enjoy being with her? Did you ever argue with her?
Well, of course we argue. That's normal, isn't it? Inspector, I know in some mad way you think you've got a reason to believe that...
I believe, Mr. Martin, that Billy Conrad is telling the truth. I believe that Billy took Tricia home, well, almost home, after he met her on the path. I believe that she went into the house, and shortly afterwards you and Tricia had some sort of argument, and you hit her, or knocked her over, and she hit her head, and she died.
Not true.
And you picked her up and put her in your car, and you drove to Benningfield Woods, where you tried to hide her body.
No. All I can say is no.
A forensic examination of your car, Mr. Martin, will give us all the proof we need, no matter how much you think you've cleaned it. Forensic examination will also tell us where she died. And I shall start in the garage, because that afternoon you were mowing the lawn. Do you know what we found in Tricia's hair? Traces of oil. 2-stroke oil. You used 2-stroke oil in your motor mower. We will match it.
She fell. She just fell. I was asleep. I dozed off, that's the truth. I had a couple of drinks at lunchtime. And I was... She came in like she did, wanting it all done, the food on the table. Video from the shop. Another list of things she wanted. I mean, we spent a fortune on that kid. I lost my temper.
And you hit her.
Oh, she was asking for it. Sally always gave her everything she wanted. I mean, it didn't matter whether we could afford it or not, and she started again. I want this, I want that. And I shouted at her.
She ran out into the carriage. She started screaming. I thought people were there. I didn't think I'd ever... Not again. And she said she'd tell Sally about the other times, but we put that behind us. And she said she'd tell Sally. I had to shut her up. And she ran and slipped. She just slipped. And her head came down on the floor. And I picked her up and put her in the back of the car to take her to hospital. And I just drove out and I realised she wasn't breathing. And I drove around, I didn't know where I was going, and then I was on a track. And I couldn't go back and tell Sally what I'd done. You see, I couldn't ever tell her.
Okay, son. It's time to go home, I reckon.
Mr. Frost, you've missed Richard. I don't know where he is.
Can I come in?
Afternoon, sir.
I'm glad it's all been tied up. Tragic business.
Oh, yes.
Excuse me. You were right to be cautious, Jack. Absolutely right. I thought I'd been in this job too long to snatch at a culprit, just because the case got to me.
Well, what about this Parker business? I suppose we could look forward to an inquiry. I mean, after all, security is our shield.
I don't think look forward to would have been my choice of word. But I can assure everyone there's going to be a shake-up in security at this station. One hell of a shake-up.